Walking Dead Season 3. I'm going to do my thoughts on it. So as you guys know, I've enjoyed Walking Dead, but I haven't been a big fan of it. I wasn't too big on Season 2, but I was hopeful Season 3 would get better. And at first I was like, you know what? This opening is pretty good. Maybe this season will be different. And for a while I thought that, but I was skeptical to jump on and say Season 3 is going to be awesome at first because, Season 2 of Walking Dead started really good, and then eh. So I was cautious, and it turns out I was right. Season 3, I liked, but, for as much as I liked it, there were a lot of things that bogged it down, and it wound up being slightly better than Season 2, but not really. So, full spoilers, I'm going to go into spoilers as to what happens. I'm going to assume you've already seen Walking Dead or just don't care, because I'm going to spoil it. So, first off, let's start with what I liked. First off, I liked the prison. I think it's a cool location. It was interesting. But it's very much like the farm in the sense that there's this long period of time when nothing really interesting happens at the prison and you want them to move. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed in the finale, which, again, I'll talk about the finale a bit later, but I was kind of disappointed that they didn't move out of the prison at the start of Season 4. But it was a cool location, and it was interesting at first when they were clearing out, but I just feel like once we got to the governor conflict, it kind of lost its interest, and the governor conflict just kind of drags. Speaking of which, the governor I thought was kind of an interesting character. I mean, there were some nice moments with him. I mean, but at the same time, there were also some moments where I really didn't care about him. Michonne, I thought was a cool character over swords and stuff. The only problem is it took her a while to get really good. It took her until like the Clear episode to get really good. Speaking of which, the Clear episode I love. I think that was the best episode since the pilot. Great character moments, great character introductions. Everything I loved about Walking Dead was in that episode. Unfortunately, it doesn't carry over to most of the stuff after that. But there's, again, good stuff still. I think this is much better paced than last season. I felt like they did a bit better job keeping the plot moving. I think it's still dragged, but there was stuff happening. It wasn't like Season 2 where much was happening. I also like how Carl matured. I thought that made him much more likable than in Season 2. Like, I really like that character now. He's much more interesting, and that kid does a much better job. Merle, who they brought back, I don't like him, and I'm kind of glad he's dead. But during this final episode, he delivered a really nice moment. Again, I think one of my favorite moments this season might be the last bit where he's trying to kill the governor. I thought that was a really good scene. The only time I really liked Merle. So kudos to Walking Dead. I also like how a lot of the characters I don't like in Walking Dead have been killed off, so hopefully Season 4 will be better. Andrea I don't like, the mom I don't like, and Merle I don't like, except for that one moment right before he died. So, glad that's... So, the problems with Walking Dead. I still feel like the pacing's off. I honestly feel like you could have done this season in fewer episodes and made it more engaging. Like, either less episodes or same amount of episodes, but less time. At times, I feel like the episodes kind of drag. Like, stuff should happen, but it doesn't. And it's like, especially in the second half, like it should be building. Like when it's halfway through, you want, oh my gosh, can we have this epic confrontation between the governor and Rick? And it takes forever before it happens, and when it does, it's really lame. But a bit on that sooner. Yeah, actually, that was my next point, which is the governor and prison attack should have happened sooner. It should have been a big conflict rather than just brief conflict and devoting most of this. Actually, I'll get to that later. Another problem is Michonne takes forever to get interesting. She's very quiet for most of it. It's not until Clear when she really gets any sort of personality. And, yeah. And a lot... Also, Andrea, I really didn't like. She was really unlikable. She wasn't interesting. She's constantly back and forth. It takes her forever to realize that the government is evil. There are so many obvious things that tell her the government is evil, and it takes her forever to realize it. It's just so frustrating. And what's even more frustrating is the fact that so much time in this season is devoted to her. Like, this Season 3, I think, is mostly about Andrea, and it's really annoying because she's not an interesting character. I mean, at least with Season 2, there was interesting characters I was focusing on. And another issue I have is there's a lot of characters in the show that are given no personality just so the show can have someone to kill off. Or they'll have a character and they'll give them personality a bit. And just as they're starting to give him personality, they'll kill him off, like T-Dog and the bearded prisoner guy. And it really bothers me. I mean, I should feel something when these characters die. I shouldn't be either hating the character or feel cheated, like all of a sudden I care, you make me care about the Mitt just to die, or just give me red shirt characters, because it's like I'll either feel upset or like that you just gave the character just to kill him, or if you give him no person, I'll be like, oh, that character died. And at times I feel like these characters are nerfed versions of their comic counterparts, in the sense that I feel like Michonne, T-Dog, Entree, I feel like these characters have a lot more to them in the comics. I haven't read them, but I'm going to read them at some point. And I honestly feel like that they're really reduced down. And lastly, I don't like the final episode. It was really underwhelming. It should have amounted to something. Season 2, for as much gripes as I had, it was building towards this conflict between Rick and Shane. It was building towards the Walkers invading and them getting on the farm, and it delivered. It was big, it was intense, and while I was annoyed with it, it did leave me interested in what was going to happen next. This, I really don't care. I mean, we don't really get any really interesting conflict. The governor's still out there. They're still stuck at the prison. It really doesn't feel like much happened during this finale. I mean, I know it did, but much happened. It doesn't feel like much amounted to anything. I mean, the big moment is a dramatic moment. The centerpiece, this is Andrea's death, and I really don't care for Andrea. But yeah, so this was underwhelming for me. I mean, I've heard season 4 finale is supposed to be good, so I'm going to keep watching to see what that's all about. But yeah, this was a really disappointing season. I liked it a bit better than season 3. I'm tempted to say season 2 might have been a bit better than this, if anything, just because, it did have those really strong moments at the beginning, and it did deliver at the end despite some issues. But at the same time, I think season 1 might have been the best, just simply because it was starting off. It was laying the foundation. It's just, I just have a love-hate relationship with this show. But what do you think? Did you like this season of Walking Dead? Comment below and let me know. JStars260 signing out.